record player.
James here. Steve has decided that we're gonna do another video where Phil talks a little bit about his records. Yeah, so Johnny apparently decided to join us too. Okay, so Phil, any idea like where we should start, Steve? Or?
Yeah, just say Phil. All we want to do is like you choose like a random vinyl, old-fashioned vinyl record. You pick it up, you play it on the record player. You briefly explain why it's such a rarity and why you dig it, and that would be it. You know, and just and highlight your collection and your musical background. That's all. Okay, show the camera.
Not yet. Pardon me. Where is the book?
It's a nice one.
Yeah.
Like how in the 70s and 80s people just rolled out the sleeve of the vinyl album and played it on the record player with a needle.
Yeah. Yeah.
33 rounds per minute.
Yeah.
Bill Cosby. Wow.
Yeah.
Comedy.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah, I've heard of Phil Albert before it.
Oh, there's the book.
Oh, okay, you got the book.
Yeah. This is an album based on the book Rock and Other Four-Letter Words by J. Marks with music by Shippen Lebzelter.
Okay.
The book was a hodgepodge of the rock and roll scene.
Mm-hmm.
Steppenwolf, Small Faces.
Oh, that's Born to Be Wild, Steppenwolf.
Mm-hmm.
Born
Frank Zappa.
your idol.
Neil Young. The United States of America, H.P. Lovecraft.
Wow.
And as chaotic as the book is, the album is even more so.
Okay. It's almost like a religious ritual, you know. Remember Phil in the 70s and 80s? You just pull out a vinyl album. Let's put it fast forward, like towards a little bit more. See, like now. A bit forward, yes. So what is this album about, Phil?
It's about the rock and roll scene of the late 60s. Raga rock, as well as hard rock. And of course, punk rock was in its infancy back then.
The Ramones.
Yeah, they wouldn't show up for another 8 or 9 years.
Okay.
Back then, punk rock was represented by bands like the Electric Prunes, Steppenwolf.
Well, when did Born to Be Wild come out?
I think about 1967 or 8.
Really? Born to Be Wild? I thought it was like in the early 80s. Born to Be Wild.
No.
Wow. Liza Minelli?
Yeah, I'm not familiar with that name, but hopefully find time to look her up.
Wow.
Yeah. 67.
Let's sample another song on this album. Let's see.
Is anything else? We like the music we like, but we are in
Alright.
All sorts of electronics were mixed together with the rock and roll of that time.
Exactly.
Yep.
So now let's put it back into the thing and then play something random and describe it briefly. Like what is it so unique? Like this is a really cult.
Yeah.
Beatles, every household name. They got lots of merch. I mean, we don't own the copyright. We paid full money for that. So, you know.
Yep.
We're not even trying to promote it. We're trying to highlight what a good era it was, the vinyl era, because now everything is on YouTube and iTunes and electronic, and we're just trying to reminisce about like vintage of like stuff in the 70s, 80s, when you just pull out like a record album. Bob Marley. All right.
Close.
That's Mom's Mobley. Okay, I thought.
Mom's Mabley was a comedian
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
who
Describe
was outspoken during that time in the 60s.
All right.
This is a live album from Sing Sing.
When a top follows Rome,
Okay, yeah, go ahead.
I'll show you.
Explain it, sir. So that's a live album from the 60s.
Yeah. Jackie Mom's Mabley was like in her 70s at that time. But
Dirty old man.
she could sing her heart out with that raspy, almost Louis Armstrong-like voice.
Oh, beautiful. Focus on Phil.
Yep.
So I pulled this out of my comedy stack. There, I got like two rows here of comedy records.
Try it,
Ben
but
Calder,
make you happy.
who was Sheb Woolley in disguise.
And now,
And of course, you can't forget this guy.
Oh, yeah, Bill Cosby.
Yeah.
I show you where Mom's at.
Yeah, I don't care what they say about Cosby. His albums were fantastic.
The way you screamed, I hope
Of course,
it's blood.
here's a Red Fox album.
The way you
Okay.
If you only knew Red Fox for Sanford and Son, he put out some pretty bawdy albums back then.
I enjoyed the show, the TV show series from the 70s, Sanford and Son. James.
Yeah.
Yeah, he made sure that all of his friends on the Chitlin circuit got a job
That's
on
it.
Sanford and Son.
Yep. All right. So I'm putting back the Mom's Mobley. Mobley. So yeah, let's see if you got. Yeah, go ahead, highlight it.
Right, here is a classic recording. Spike Jones is Murdering the Classics. He was the first great comedy band leader.
And this is David Byrne, right, from the Talking Heads. The
Oh,
British
this
band?
one?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Heads,
he
Simple-
did the
Simple
music
Minds.
for the Catherine Wheel.
Don't remember Talking Heads or Simple Minds. I think Talking Heads.
He was with
Yep.
That's a beautiful Phil. Huh, that's the camera for Phil. When you're talking.
Yeah, I see you pulled
Liza
out
Minelli.
Liza with a Z.
Liza with a Z, yes.
Yep.
She's,
Yeah, that was
Ju-
her big variety show.
That's Judy Garland's Judy Garland's daughter, Liza
Correct.
Minelli. She's been like a singer slash actress.
Yeah, if you haven't seen her in the Sterile Cuckoo, you're missing something.
You know, see how vinyl dominated the 70s and 80s, and then it got replaced by the tape cassettes.
Mm-hmm.
But it's still featuring prominently in a hip hop turntable, or scratching the rap, hip hop, street, New York City.
Yep, a lot of those people would use pre-recorded music as building blocks for their own.
Sampling the
creation.
8 tracks, all the 16th track, So show
Yeah,
us.
but vinyl is what you want if you want the really full, non-digital sound.
Yeah,
But
vinyl
vinyl's
is king.
best for rock and roll and jazz.
Vinyl is analog versus digital. Like now they got YouTube, they got iTunes. This is the capturing the essence, the analog, the stuff from the vintage era.
Right, this is the 100% unadulterated sound.
Exactly.
Yep.
And Phil, how many do you think you got? Like 3K, 4K? I mean, in terms of quantity.
Probably 3K.
Whoa.
And of course, you can't forget Philip Glass
Okay.
from the minimalist school of
All right.
music.
Let's get something more familiar just for the viewers on YouTube that were born in Gen X and the millennials, the people that are born Gen Z, whatever it's called, Y, that were born in the aughts, in the 2000s, in the 90s, in the 80s.
Yeah. Yeah.
Something like Okay.
Yeah, in fact.
Well, it's
Yeah, some of you may remember Tommy James for songs like Hanky Panky, Crimson
okay.
and Clover.
Something a little bit more familiar to people who listen on to mainstream radio, adult.
It doesn't get more
contemporary.
mainstream than Tommy James.
All right, let's see something else. Let's play the David Byrne. I mean, okay, what's that?
Now this is Kim Carnes when she still had a singing voice.
Oh, okay. And then we play David Byrne. That's because people recognize it from Talking Heads. I mean, we got at least this 80s. People are born in a time of Frankie Goes to Hollywood and David Bowie. And
Mind you, the Byrne
Boy
albums
George.
I have are not Talking Heads albums.
I know, but
But
it got some
stuff he
ring.
did apart from that band.
Yeah, exactly. Some ring of familiarity. Sounds like Rod Stewart. He's raspy. He's like hoarse.
Yeah, back then you only had to listen to a vocalist for a few seconds to know who it was. Not like now where everybody's trying to sound exactly alike.
The opening tunes, the riffs, the opening riffs. You can recognize the song. You could have.
Yeah. Yep. No. Yeah. It's a shame
That's
though.
beautiful, Phil. Let's see, and let's wrap up. Okay, go ahead. Yeah, let's wrap it up with David Byrne, maybe. Let's see. Just can you just before I play some sample? Can you talk to the viewers at home on YouTube, explaining what's so unique about David Byrne, and why should they listen to the well paid for album? Phil.
The thing about David Byrne was that there was so much more to him than just Talking Heads. Talking Heads was an innovative band, but the music he did apart from that, you're listening to the Catherine Wheel soundtrack right now.
Yeah, go ahead, Phil. So what? So yeah, it's more unique, but in what sense?
Now that I'm listening to this cut, I guess the only answer I can give is damned if I know.
Okay. So yeah, so basically.
Yeah, David Byrne is on the autism spectrum. Not everybody knows that.
Yeah, that's the first time I've heard about it. I did not know. But it's good to know that some people that are making money and becoming famous are on the spectrum.
Byrne say that in an interview.
Yeah, that's a good thing. So, to wrap it up, this is an old-fashioned record player. It's a good thing that Phil is having such vintage souvenirs from
I've
this.
never been one to junk old technology that's still good.
To the contrary, it's making a comeback. And actually in Portland, Oregon, there's a store that's dedicated to the old-fashioned vintage vinyl records because it's so rare. It's so like antique. It's all collector's items like old cars.
We got a store like that right here in Cheektowaga.
And that's why, Phil, I mean, with your musical knowledge, now, if we're going off on a tangent, segue, can you, I just noticed that you got some bass guitars. Can you just briefly explain what they're all about and why it's so unique to you?
Right. This is a 1977 precision bass with lay sensors
Okay.
and a device that will drop the lower string to a lower pitch.
And what's the uniqueness? What's the effect on it?
Well, that's a real, not a copy. It's a real 1977 precision bass.
Okay.
I would sell that for $3,000.
Wow. Well, show us the
Now-
other ones, please.
This one is a fake.
Fake.
A friend of mine built this for me. It is a fretless bass,
Fretless bass, okay.
so that you can just, You probably can't hear this because it's not connected to an amplifier, but you get that nice clean glissando with a fretless bass.
Yeah, when you glide on it, like the Alice Cooper song.
Right. And this is a copy of a Gibson EBO.
Gibson Les Paul.
Take a look at that.
Gibson Les Paul?
Not a Les Paul. This is a Gibson EBO.
Oh, okay. And the last one, please.
Let's see what this one is. This is another fake of a Fender jazz bass that my friend made for me.
All right, Phil. Yes or no? Are any of these bass guitars having the option of getting hooked up to electricity? You know, being like the electric, or just?
They are electric basses.
They are?
They just have to have a cable and an amplifier.
Wow. So this is Phil Mann. He's a purveyor and collector of music, rare collections. He got an encyclopedic knowledge of any genre than imaginable, and he got like about 3K, 4K of record albums. Some of them books, albums, musical instruments.
Very much the composer.
The sheets, yes, note sheets. This is like the shrine for, just like the Cleveland, Ohio Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Yeah, only my museum is of more obscure albums than what the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame has.
You know that in Niagara College in Canada, they have an elective called History of Rock and Roll. And there's a book by a guy named David Garofalo who actually wrote a History of Rock and Roll book. And that was like the Bible for me, you know, like when I took the elective in Niagara College, I was like very happy to go through that. It renewed a lot of things in my mind that I didn't know about rock and roll. And so,
John Waters' first book.
Wow. A history of rock and roll. But you can write a history of rock and roll of your own.
I could write some interesting side trips that not everybody talks about. You noticed in that one book there was a photo of the band United States of America.
Yes.
They were one of the first bands to use Moog synthesizers and theremins live on stage.
Is that the band that sang plenty of peaches, peaches for me, or millions of peaches? Is that the band, the United States of America? I don't know, Presidents of the United States of America? Or
there is an unrelated band called the Presidents of the United States
that's the
of
one
America.
I was talking about. Okay.
United States of America was a band put together by Joe Bird.
Okay.
Let's see.
No relation to Larry Bird,
No.
the basketball player.
Yeah.
Just kidding. JK.
Yep.
Cool. David Byrne, Bill Cosby, all this collection, and this is the guy.
This was the second album they made.
Wow. Nice illustration, nice. This lady looks like Annie Lennox, the one with the sunglasses.
Oh yeah, that was their vocalist Dorothy Moskowitz, who did
Bye.
an unforgettable piece of animation on early Sesame Street.
No, show me the bike contortions. That lady looks like Annie Lennox. And you got Stevie Wonder. Fuck, man.
Yep. This is Stevie Wonder's greatest and most misunderstood album.
And you got Stevie Wonder over there. And they got the lady on bike contortions. She's the one I was referring to. Like an Annie Lennox lookalike.
Yeah, I don't know who they got for that photo, but
Show the viewers just really briefly about that.
Alright.
All right. And
yeah, in fact.
no, just show the.
Oh no, you definitely want to hear this band.
Okay. I'm gonna play the band.
I don't know much about this band, but they had a unique sound.
I'll take the.
James White was.
Kind of like rhythm and blues. Fun.
But in a perverted way that makes Devo sound.
And they got a
normal.
Stevie Wonder over there.
You know, people know about Hotter Than July. That was one of his biggest hit records.
Nice, very interesting sound. So Phil, to wrap it up, what do you have to say? Like 1 minute, summing up all your experience, everything you want to talk about. Shoot the breeze.
Yeah, as you can see, there's a lot of different types of music in my collection. Some that would challenge anybody's definition of music.
Okay.
But the point is that it's all out there and it's ready to be listened to. Remember, there's a subtle difference between music and noise. The difference is the ear either accepts or rejects the sound. If the latter, they call it noise. If the former, they call it music.
Phil Mann, thank you very much. The man and the legend. Thank you very much, guys.
I am blessed to be able to hear the music in noise.
All right, one more pinball.